Hello, folks. Welcome to The Manly Show. I'm Jeff Sieh, and you're not. We are excited to have you guys here with us today. I'm thanking for everybody in the audience. Joe Ray, I see you're here. Linda Williams, hey, thanks for showing up for the second edition of The Manly Show. So we're having a little trouble right now getting connected with Mr. Kawasaki, but we're going to go ahead and roll with the punches. And so real quickly, I want to start out with my panel, have them introduce themselves, and tell a little bit where we can find them on the various social media channels that they're in. So first of all, we're going to start with Mr. Les Dossey. Welcome,
hey,
Les.
Everybody. I'm Les Dossey, and you're not. Hey, it's good to be here. I'm glad to be on this panel still. I'm surprised Jeff hasn't kicked me off yet. You can see in my lower third there that I'm the go-to source for frustrated professionals. You can find me at iamles.com, or you can check out my Google Plus profile. I'm a coach and a consultant, and I love helping people get unstuck and go after and get what they really want from life and profession. Thanks for having me again, Jeff.
Hey, no problem there, Les. Okay, Mr. Mike Allton, you are up.
Hey guys, thanks for having me again. Love to be here. And I'm Mike Allton with the social media hat. Where one more hat's one too many. So I'm helping businesses kind of manage their blogging, content marketing, and social media. And if you guys don't know me already, you can find me on Plus Mike Allton on Google Plus. That's where I'm at all day, every day.
Great. Thanks, Mike. All right, Stephan, you are up next.
Hey everybody, Stephan Hovnanian. I wrote the Google Plus Pro Tips series here, available on Amazon. Just came out with a fourth book, so it's kind of on my mind right now. But what I do typically is help businesses make the most out of Google Plus and incorporate it into their web strategy. And also, as far as the web strategy thing goes, try and help. We build, manage, and market websites and handle email marketing and things like that. You can also find me here on Google Plus or at stephanhove.com.
Great. And your book just came out today, right? Your new one?
Today, yes. It's about the fourth one. It's about getting more visibility on the platform itself.
Awesome.
Very excited about it.
Make sure you put the link for people on the in the comment stream, please. That will be.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm all about sharing and giving here at the Manly Show. All right. Last but not least, we have Mr. Wade Harman. Wade, thanks for being here.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Hey, everybody. Joe Ray, he's made the switch with me from the last hangout we did with the Friends Plus Me guy, so good to see him and everybody else that's in the audience. My name is Wade Harman. You can find me at wadeharman.com. I am actually working on putting the finishing touches on the new relationship experience course that's going to show you it's tons of videos and a lot of different things that you can use to build relationships, and that's what I do here on Google Plus. I love building relationships and making friends, and I will show you how to do that in the course. Contact me if you want to get a 50% off discount when the course comes out in June, and I'm here on the Plus all day at Plus Wade Harman, just like Mike. Thanks for having me again.
Great. Well, thanks for being on here, Wade. I just got a email from Mr. Guy Kawasaki. He is on his way, so we will vamp until then. So first of all, I want to kind of ask you guys, because this title of this show is A Guy's Mind, which, my wife would say, how would she ever know that? Because a lot of times, guys, we tend to dial, my wife calls the dial tone, when they ask us a question, we just kind of sit there and dial tone, yeah. So, but inside a guy's mind, how do you guys balance work and family? That's probably, I think, especially as guys become more successful with their jobs, as they go through their career, it becomes more and more of a strain to balance the work and family. So, Les, I know you probably speak to this a lot with your clients. So, what's the best way to deal with that?
Well, I was going to make a joke and say I just gave my wife permission to hit me upside the head with a board if I'm out of balance. But getting serious here, I really love what I do, Jeff. So there's really no kind of delineation between work and personal. I kind of have a nice blend. I've integrated both sides together, so it gives me a lot of freedom and flexibility. And so I can come and go, I can ebb and flow, I can do what I need to do in order to to be happy and feel good in both roles. So, and I try to help my clients do the same, right? Because listen, who wants to go spend 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day at something they don't like, something that's a grind? So that's my advice to anybody: is if you're grinding away, man, you need to find something that you're passionate about and make the transition.
Good. What about you, Mr. Allton? How do you balance, work and family? I mean, you've got, young ones and another one on the way. So how do you balance?
Yeah, I don't. That's probably one of the toughest areas of my life. Fortunately, I love what I do. I have a real passion for the blogging and the social media and that sort of thing. But the problem there is social media is 24/7. I mean, you guys know you can jump on Google Plus at 8 o'clock at night, and there's stuff going on. There's great conversations, and people are mentioning you and asking you questions and so on. And it's a real challenge for me to put that phone down or step away from the computer and push that aside and spend time with family. What I've been trying to do is kind of set boundaries for myself and the family. They know if I'm up here for the most part in my office, I'm talking up here. They know not to bother me so much. Whereas like a Sunday is pretty much 100% family day, and I'm going to pop on to social media and that sort of thing, an email throughout the day at specific times. But that's it. And I'm trying to focus on what we're doing as a family.
Yeah. Being focused, I think, is key. One of the things, and I'm horrible at it, and I used to check my phone all the time, because you got Google notifications, you've got stuff popping up, you've got Twitter feeds coming through, you've got, you want to be on top, especially Mike, you talk about newsjacking a lot and writing your blog posts. To be good at that, you've got to monitor the news, and so it's tough to set that phone down. And what I've found to do is, because I cook and I cook all the meals just because my wife teaches, is that I have to let my phone run down, and it usually is pretty dead by supper time anyway, but I go charge it in the other room, and that forces me to pay attention to, because I want to eat as a family, at least one meal. I want to try to do that because they found studies that it helps with the kids. I mean, all sorts of things, that eating together as a family is important, and so I want to try to do that once a day. Now, we're not perfect, and we miss every once in a while, but having that phone away, the TV off, all that stuff really does make a big difference. So anyway, that's a little thing that I do that other people may want to try. All right, Stephan, how about you? You're a published author now. You're on Google Plus all the time. I mean, how do you balance everything?
It's so I'm downstairs where Mike to Mike's upstairs. I've finished so this is actually an interesting story. So I finished our basement to be my office when we moved, because it was like we're growing out of our house and our family's expanding, so we need to do something, and it was either me getting office space and us staying where we were, or us moving. We ended up moving it. So I finished my office. I finished the basement to be my office, and now the entire family has pretty much infiltrated it. So, now we have the Wii down here. We have a whole section for the kids with like all of their books and their, a whole desk area for them. And my wife's got, some stuff going on sort of catty corner to me. So, the boundaries have become even more of an issue for me in the last, let's say, 12 months. What I try and do, it's really just to say, this is it. Like, we have, when I'm working, when I've got stuff going on, I will give you my time, but not now. And it's really just to be able to set those boundaries. I've turned off almost all push notifications on my phone. It's helped a ton. The only thing that it checks automatically is email, just because because I'm a compulsive email checker, so I figure let that check automatically, but it doesn't even ding. So it'll be like if I just look at my phone and something pops up. So other than Hangouts, everything else is Hangout chat. Everything else is pretty much off as far as push notifications. So I don't get a lot of distraction that way. And like you, Jeff, I mean, we try pretty good at it to do family dinner and also keep the phone off the table. And the kids yell at me about that too. So I think that's a big thing too. Like I make sure that the kids know that I want the boundaries so that they can tell me that I'm crossing them.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, it looks like Guy is on his way. So, but Wade, I want to get to you. How do you balance work and family?
Well, really, for the past year, or I've been blogging for 2 years, and I've literally worked 12 and 18 hours a day, just on social media, on the blog, and different things. Because you want to be successful, you want to succeed, and so it seems like that I forgot about my family, and here I am trying to make relationships with other people, and I'm forgetting the most important relationship, which is my wife and my kids. And I've just now started to tone it down, just like Mike. I have a similar schedule as Mike does. Sunday is more or less family time. I'm right in the middle. I mean, you can go back in some of these other manly Pinterest tip shows and see or hear my kids go boom, boom, boom down the hall. So it's a delicate balance. I try to keep normal work hours, and then I will bring my phone to the living room to kind of just keep up with notifications, and that's I'm trying. I'm not there yet, and I'd like to be there more for my family. But if to say that I am right now, I'm not, but I am trying to make more time for my wife and my kids. I want to play with these kids before they get grown and start to hate me as a father. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm wanting to do. So it's just a balance, and I feel bad for it, but then on the other hand, I've got these followers that are expecting me to do things, but then my family is expecting too, and I need to make them the most important thing, and I'm about 80% there.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's something we all struggle with all the time. So, Guy, thank you so much for joining our call. Sorry there was a mix-up on the times, but thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear me?
He might be muted.
I don't think he's muted. I don't think his sound's working right now. I tell you, it's gremlins in. Are you there, Guy? No, we still don't have any sound.
Gremlins in HLA land.
I think he can hear us.
He can hear us. He can make hand signals for us. There we go. There we go. Oh.
One word, 2 syllables.
Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about, Guy. We're talking about how to balance work and family. I don't know how you can make a hand signal about that. How you do that. But one of the things I know that I've done is this is my man cave right here. This where we're at right now is a man cave. It's actually separate from my house. It's about a 30-second walk. It's my 30-second commute. And so it's great for me to come away. It would be hard for me, especially when my kids are home from school, to have them in my office. I don't see, I mean, Stephan, I mean, that's, you can retreat to your basement. Mike, you've got upstairs. In our house, it'd be crazy because we have a smaller house and it would just be nuts. So the man cave has turned into my fortress of solitude where I can actually get work done. So, Guy, can you talk yet? No, still nothing. Let me see what's going on here. You want to try jumping out and popping back in and see if that helps? Maybe that'll work. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about today.
How about now?
Oh, there we go. Hey.
All right, sorry.
That's all right. Thanks for showing up. People have been trouble with Hangouts all day, so we're just happy to have you here. For those of you who don't know who this is Guy Kawasaki, and if you don't know who he is, you've probably not been on the internet very long. And he is now the chief evangelist for Canva. So we are very excited to have him with us. Yeah,
oh,
there,
nice.
we go. There we go. Nice Canva shirt. But we're talking real quick before I want to talk to you a little bit more about your new role at Canva. But one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is, I mean, you're super successful on social media and so many different other areas. How do you balance work and family?
You're assuming that I do. That's number one. The key to my balance is Peg Fitzpatrick. How's that? She does so much work for me, and it's been a long time since I worked full time for one company, like more than a decade, and in a sense that just added another layer of work, but it also, in a sense, clarifies priorities, right? So when you're working full time, you can tell everybody else, hey, I got a full-time job, and I can't just be doing stuff for you. And I also have figured out some ways to put barriers in front of people that that they really cannot come at me or say that I am an asshole for doing it. And I'll give you an example. So I get asked several times a day to review people's pitches because whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to review a pitch, it really takes probably 2 hours in total, an hour to think about it and an hour to talk to the person. So now what I do is I tell people, okay, I'll review your pitch, but here's the deal. The deal is that you have to donate $500 to the University of California, Berkeley hockey team, because my son plays for that team. And so now this is an interesting thing. So I'm not asking them to pay me $500, right? I'm not getting anything out of this.
Right.
But it is going to cost them $500. And so if they do not value my time at $250 an hour, which is less than most lawyers, then what can I say? Tough shit, right? So
Right.
It's going to cost you $250 an hour, but it's not going to be money that's coming to me. It's going to a charity or not-for-profit. So that's one way. And it kind of separates the people who are serious from the people who are not serious. I mean, if you really want me to do it, it's worth $500. If you don't really want me to do it, then why am I wasting my time reviewing something? And so that is, one trick I've developed. And you'd be surprised that when it's going to cost you something or cost people something, very few people take me up on this.
Really?
Yeah, very few. It's just, I don't know, there's some kind of attitude I think that people have on the internet of entitlement, that everything should be free, and my time is so valuable. How dare you impose upon my time? And I'll give you another example. So with my website Alltop, we find very interesting stories, we summarize them, and then we add the link to the source. And then we promote Alltop. So let's say there's a great top 10 tips to grab more followers on Google+.
Gotcha.
So we would say, okay, so here's the story, one sentence, great analysis of how to find more followers on Google+, and then the link. And so people would have to come to Alltop, read that sentence, and then click to go to the source to actually read the whole article. And there are lots of people who say, Guy, how dare you make me land at Alltop? You're wasting my time. You should put the link directly to the source. And the reason why I make people land at Alltop is that's the business model, right? We're selling advertising at Alltop. So the inherent deal is I'm curating, I'm finding good stuff that you would never have found. Right. And so all I want you to do is give me a page view and then click to the source.
Right.
5 seconds, right? But people have this attitude like, how dare you make me click twice? And so I tell those people, okay, so if you can find that story faster than 5 seconds, clicking twice, hallelujah. In fact, I will hire you because I need people to find good stuff. And so, a lot of it is because I guess, unlike Wade and all you guys who are young, I'm like 60 years old. I don't give a shit if you don't like me anymore. So if you can't invest 5 seconds, go ahead and knock yourself out.
Right on.
Well, you mentioned hockey earlier, and I know from reading your stuff and all that stuff that you're big into hockey, and that's one of your big hobbies. So, how important is it as a guy, trying to succeed and go through life, to have a hobby like you for hockey? Is that what kind of centers you, or?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that hockey is the only thing that I'm not good at that I love, because it's easy to love something you're good at. It's hard to love something you're not good at. And I truly love hockey. And when you reach a certain level at hockey, and I'm not there, you can think about other things when you're playing hockey. But for me, to play hockey at any decent level, I have to be so totally focused on hockey that I'm not thinking about, this hangout later. I'm not thinking about what I have to do for Canva today. I'm not thinking about, why Apple should buy Beats, which is the most dumbass thing I've ever heard in my life. And so that's like, an hour or two where I think of nothing else. And there are not many hours in a day where I, have that kind of focus. So I think it's very important. Now, on the other hand, as I said, I am 60 years old, and so, could all of you guys take off 2 hours in the middle of the day, 3 days a week? Wow, I mean,
Yeah.
not clear.
Right.
But on the other hand, I paid my dues for 30 years to get to this point where,
Right.
I just don't do things from 11 to 1:30 or so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Have you been taking time off for hockey all your life, or is this just a recent? I
I took up hockey about 11 years ago, so not all my life. Hockey is obviously a team game, right? So some stuff like just working out, you could go according to your schedule, but you need 19 other people to be there at the same time.
Gotcha.
So it's a little different.
Gotcha. Well, Les, do you have a question for a guy? I know you had a bunch that you were thinking about, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I do, Jeff. Thanks. And Guy, I got to be honest, I didn't really know a whole lot about you until Jeff said, "Hey, Guy Kawasaki's going to be on the show." I had read Enchanted.
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about you from that. So, about a week ago, I stalked you. I went on Facebook and and I poured through all of your content and came up with some pretty cool stuff. And I checked out some of your videos.
I saw my cloud score rise in the last week.
Did you?
That was Les. Yeah.
That was all me. So I have a question. I know this audience is a lot of independent professionals, professional service providers, and stuff like that. So my question to you is, if you were just getting started out, you didn't have 6 million followers and this huge entourage of people helping you out, what's the one thing you would do to market and promote yourself?
Well, I think the key to marketing and promoting yourself is, of course, a good reality, which is to say that it's very easy to market and promote and build a personal brand if you are a competent person. So, step number one is make sure you're not putting lipstick on a pig. Now, I think that's 80% of the battle. I mean, a good reality is very easy to evangelize. Sucky reality is hard. So that's number one. But number two, if I were starting out today, I would probably, knowing what I know about everything, I would probably focus on 2 sites, Google Plus and LinkedIn. I think that Google Plus you cannot ignore today because, I mean, it's freaking Google, right? That's the 8,000-pound gorilla.
Right.
And, I read these things that, Vic Gandotra resigned, and this is the beginning of the end of Google Plus, and, it only has, 500 million users. That's 1/3 the size of Facebook. It's a dismal failure. And I look at those reports and I say, like, what the hell are you talking about, man? If somebody said to you that you had the 2nd largest social media website, and in 3 years you had 500 million users, you'd be saying, man, this is the most successful social media website in the history of man. It took, Facebook 10 years to get to 1.5 billion, and in 3 years you're already at, 500 million, or, whatever the numbers are, right?
Right.
So I'm a big believer in Google Plus, obviously. Killer app is Hangouts. I mean,
Right.
go do this on Twitter.
Right.
So that's number one. And number two, LinkedIn. I was dragged into using LinkedIn. Really, Peggy Fitzpatrick made me do it. And now I think I have the 15th largest followership on LinkedIn. And the great thing about LinkedIn is there are not a lot of dumbass trolls on LinkedIn. Because, no, I'm sure the dumbass trolls are on LinkedIn, but they cannot act in their usual dumbass troll way. Because at some level, unless you're truly an idiot, you realize that on LinkedIn, if I post something about, let's break the glass ceiling, let's have more women CEOs, if Bubba, says something like, no, women should be pregnant and barefoot, Bubba might do that in Twitter. Bubba might do that in Facebook. Bubba might do that in Google+. But if Bubba has half a brain, Bubba realizes that on LinkedIn, if you do that, you might not get hired. You might not, that could affect your career. So you ought to shut up or post something intelligent. And so I think the interaction on LinkedIn is probably the highest quality. Because you really are who you are. Nobody goes on LinkedIn, well, I don't know, nobody, but very few people go on LinkedIn with a false persona, because the whole purpose of going on LinkedIn is to pimp yourself, right? So you don't want to pimp a fake persona. You want to pimp your real self to get a job or do biz dev. And so for those reasons, I would focus on LinkedIn and Google+.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
All right.
Great. Mike, you're up next. What's your burning question you want to ask Mr. Kawasaki?
Well, many of us, myself and some of these guys on the panel, we have family, we have friends.
Yeah.
We have I do have friends. They have no idea what we do. They have no understanding. I tell somebody I'm going on a hangout with Guy Kawasaki, and I'm so excited, and they're just, deer in the headlights looking at me like, do you have that? And, how do you deal with that? Does it affect you at all? Do you care?
Do I have what? Did I tell people I'm going on a hangout with myself and nobody gets impressed?
No, I mean, does your family understand what you do? Do they appreciate the things that are going on in your life?
Not at all. Not at all. Like, my kids could care less. They don't care if I have 8 followers or 8 million followers. About a month ago, I won the Shorty Award for, most influential business person or something, right? And I send them a link, and like they don't even respond. And like 2 days ago, Inc. magazine did a thing, and I was ranked the #4 most influential person, right? And like I send them that, and like nothing. I mean, they just want to know, can I have $20 to go to Quiznos, or will you buy me a new hockey stick, or can you take me to Great America? They don't care at all, which I'm actually not complaining. I think it's good because, you start taking yourself too serious. I can be accused of many things, but I don't take myself too serious.
That's good. Well, how about you, Stephan? What's the question that you have for Guy?
Well, no, I wanted to actually kind of piggyback on the kids thing because, like Mike said, we're all sort of in this position. A lot of us are, have growing families and on. So how, as you become more of a public profile, because it's part of what our goal is here, build some influence here on social. So as you become a little bit more visible, how do you handle some of the boundaries and the sharing and things like that? Like, I mean, it's an interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. I'm sure there are pictures of my kids online, obviously, but I have kids that are 21, 19, 12, and 8. And if you look at all the pictures I ever post, you will never see my kid's face. You will see the back of their head, you'll see their hand, you'll see whatever. I never ever post their face, except the 18 and 20-year-old. I mean, I figure they can go fight off the pedophiles, and But my young kids, I try to make it very hard for people to find and identify them. And so, I mean, that's basically what I do. I know, and I'm not paranoid. I mean, like you can't live totally in fear, but I'm not trying to make it easy either. So that's kind of what I do. I tell people I have kids, but I don't really say, oh, here's my cute son, and all that. I never do that.
I like the line, not going to make it easy for him.
Yeah. And then I know mathematically, or at least I've read in many places mathematically, the probability of this worst case scenario, someone sees your family's picture, figures out what school they go to, kidnaps them from school, is like minuscule, right? It's much more likely that your ex-wife, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-boyfriend, your whatever, your neighbor, somebody you know is going to do this dastardly deed. It's not going to be someone who like stalked you online. Of course, now we'll play this and people are going to start stalking me because I said that. But so at some level, you have to figure that it's much more likely to be an estranged somebody who's going to do something like that than total stranger who found you.
Right.
Right. And I think it's interesting, too. I have a friend who says, it's always a balance. How much social media do you let your young kids do? Because, I mean, I have junior high and high school, and he's had a good quote that he says, I'm training my kids not to live in the zoo but survive in the jungle. So I think it's all education. I mean, it's where they're at in their, their personality, how old they are and stuff. So I think the balance is there, too. So, Wade.
I also have a theory on social media that many people are saying, well, you got to be really careful, tell your kids not to post stupid pictures and all that. And I understand that. That is looking at social media as half empty. But to me, let's say that every college looks at people's, Facebook site. Well, first of all, my kid applied to, let's say, UCLA. UCLA had 100,000 applicants. So you're trying to tell me that they have enough college admissions staff time to look at 100,000 Facebook pages? I find that hard to believe. But anyway, so whether it's a college or a possible employer, they're going to look at your Facebook page. They're going to see that you got drunk, you smoked dope, you walked around nude, whatever it is, right? Take this worst case. So that everybody's saying, yeah, don't get on social media or be really careful. I look at it the opposite way. In a sense, I say, well, I hope people are checking me out on Facebook and all that because I'm going to use this knowledge as a way to position myself. So if I were a student, I would say, okay, so let's assume that this company that I'm applying for an internship, they're going to look at my Facebook page, or this university is going to look at my Facebook page. So on my Facebook page, I'm going to put a picture where I won, most valuable player for the lacrosse team. And then in the summer, I went and built churches in Guatemala. And then here I am winning the spelling bee contest. And here I am, cleaning up the environment with my high school class. And so it's a way of marketing yourself. So you can look at it as half empty, where you have to hide that you are a stupid young person. Or you can look at it as half full, where you can say, if you know that people are looking, you position yourself as a captain of a lacrosse team, so you're a leader, and you will believe in helping people, so you went to Guatemala and you built churches, and you speak Spanish, and all that. So it's branding. It's an opportunity to brand yourself, as opposed to a negative opportunity where you should hide what you are.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Wade, you've got young kids too, but what was the question you were going to ask Guy?
Well, I was wanting to take this in kind of a different direction, a shift, something. I'm enthralled with the way he does his social media. Guy Kawasaki is, a very, for sake of a better word, a powerful person on almost every social platform that you go to. And so I'm very interested in knowing this question, Guy, and it's a two-part question. Being a brand evangelist that you are, what's the most important thing when you post to social media? Now, number one, do you focus more on your followers because you do have a responsibility to your stream, or do you focus more on the brand that you represent? How do you balance that?
Again, this kind of gets back to where I am in my life, right? So I'm at the tail end of my career, and so I can have a more sort of casual, don't give a shit, love it or leave it kind of attitude that perhaps you, Wade, could not, because
No, I get it.
Yeah. So now, on the other hand, this doesn't mean I'm trying to intentionally piss people off. So I admire William Shatner and George Takei. Like, I look at their persona And even if they're not posting it themselves personally and all that, but I used to love Boston Legal, and I love, William Shatner, the way he acts. I don't know him personally, so for all I know, that's all an act. But you can kind of tell that, they kind of have figured out, I am William Shatner. I'm 60 years old. I ain't going to live forever. Life is too short to be sucking up to everybody at this point, right? So I kind of have that attitude. Now, having said that, my entire mental framework for social media is what I call the NPR model. So let me explain. The NPR model is NPR provides great content 365 days a year. Wait, don't tell me, This American Life, Fresh Air, all that. I love NPR. Every day I listen to NPR. Every once in a while, NPR runs this telethon. Now, nobody likes the telethon, right? I don't want to, hear them asking for money. I don't want to hear about the freaking Eton hand-crank solar-powered radio that if in the event of a nuclear attack, you can listen to the radio and find out when you're going to die. I'm just not interested in that radio, right? Now, there's only one organization in the world that can get away with running this telethon, which is NPR. And why is that? Because I feel obligated to NPR. I feel like I need to reciprocate. I need to, I don't need to enjoy the telethon, but I should give money. And this is because NPR is providing such great content every day of the year. So my model for social media is I am going to curate. I and the people who work for me are going to curate. We're going to find the best stories about the most interesting stuff. We're gonna make your life better. In exchange for making your life better, when I want to hit you with a promotion, I'm going to hit you with a promotion. So if I started Canva, and I want you to know that Canva is a great online graphics tool, I am not going to hesitate to tell you all about Canva, because I figure that 365 days a year, I'm finding good stuff. And so I have earned the right to promote what I want. My book, my company, companies I've invested in, whatever. Now, you may say, well, that's kind of a tacky, crass attitude. On the other hand, I'm being very realistic that I view social media as a marketing platform. I don't believe I'm entitled to promote to you. I believe I have to earn the right to promote you. So I am willing to earn the right by providing great curation. And, for those people who believe that their time is so freaking valuable that they cannot click twice to get to the source, God bless you. Change radio station channel. Go listen to something else. So that's my attitude. I believe in earning the right to promote.
That's good. You're probably the reason I started on Google Plus is because the first thing I did was read your book, What the Plus, and that, you talked about that through there, and that's kind of been, I think, a lot of our model is Mike, I know, and Wade, and everyone here is curating good content, and you build your authority by, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
So great.
Well, I think that what goes through my mind and the people who work for me every time we post something is a very simple test, which is we need to pass the reshare test, i.e., are we posting something so good that people will reshare it? That's the test. And the reason why that is a high bar is because when you reshare something, you are essentially telling your followers that I think this is good content. So the resharer is risking his or her reputation by resharing what you've posted. And there is no greater flattery, no greater test than to say that, yes, Jeff posted something, these top 10 tips for Google+, and that is so good that I am willing to risk my reputation to 6.6 million people by resharing what Jeff has shared. That is the test.
And I would love it if you would do that.
He'll send you the link tomorrow.
Yeah, the last question I wanted to ask you, Guy, was you were chief evangelist for Apple,
yes,
and then and you revived the title for Canva. And I've been using Canva since it was a beta. It's awesome. It's so fast. Now they've added the Pinterest templates. I just think it's genius. Yep. So why did you do that? And tell us what a chief evangelist is.
Well, a chief evangelist is the person who's the head leader of bringing the good news of the product. So evangelism comes from the Greek word of bringing the good news or spreading the good news. So I think Canva is good news. I think Canva is fast and free and easy to use. I can build social media graphics faster than most people can boot high-end graphic tools. So when I discovered this, and Peg was a big part of me discovering this, it was like, you know, a religious moment. Like, holy cow! I believe that every post you make should have a big graphic or an embedded video. I mean, you just need to add drama to your posts. And so lots of times I try to include pictures. Now, you know, with Google Plus and Facebook, when you put in the link, it automatically sucks in a picture. But it often sucks in a picture that is not the best one, and it sucks it in small. You know, if you're looking at your post on a mobile device, and automatically sucked in pictures about the size of a postage stamp, if you manually put in the same picture, it would be huge, right? And so I have this need to always put in pictures. And then there are some stories, like let's say around tax time, we found a story on CNN about, you know, these are some tax time deals, like restaurants were saying, you know, for April 15th, you know, kids eat free because we want to help you during tax time, right? So there was a story of all these places that did this kind of stuff. And they had like this generic picture of this, like, you know, white male staring at a stack of quarters. That's what CNN decided to depict that picture with. So even if that picture was brought in big, it kind of sucks. And so with Canva, you could write a really, you know, dramatic looking headline that says, you know, deals for tax time or something like that. Make it with yellow text on a black background on a badge, and, you know, make a really dramatic looking graphic. So that is much better than this generic picture, even if it is a large picture. So that's number one. Number two is, you know, I never really understand what is fair use of a picture, right? So when Google Plus brings it in, it's putting it out there at like 500 pixels wide, but is 500 pixels wide okay? Is that fair use? Is Reuters and AP cool with the 500 pixel, you know, reshare of a picture that somebody else bought for you know, the Washington Post? I don't know. I mean, if you ask 5 lawyers this, you'll get 7 different answers, right? Now, clearly, if Google's doing it, Google is a very rich target, right? So you would think Google has really figured out that, okay, 500 pixels is okay with Reuters, and, you know, but I just never know. Well, if you make a headline, you don't have to worry about fair use because you're not using the picture. So for all these reasons, I just fell in love with Canva. Then I met the team, and, you know, they passed all the IQ tests I threw at them. I really liked them, and I just, you know, the difference between an evangelist and a salesperson is a salesperson usually has his or her best interests at heart, right? I have to make my quota. I need to make my commission. I need to make my month. An evangelist doesn't think like that. An evangelist is thinking, I want you to use a Macintosh because it's going to make your life better. And I can honestly tell you, I want people to use Canva because I believe it's going to make their life better. Now, don't get me wrong. If everybody uses Canva, it's going to make my life better. And if everybody used Macintosh, it would have made my life better. But fundamentally, I'm not doing it because it's going to make my life better. It's going to make, or at least only, it's going to make your life better. And the second stage of that is it will probably make my life better. And so, you know, that's my orientation.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Peg was the one who got me on to Canva as well.
Yeah.
And, what I think she's doing, you're talking about the fair use about images. She's making, for even stuff she shares, she's making images to do that, which I just think is genius.
Yeah.
And it gives them, you know, people more legs in their stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Guys, do you have any other questions, follow-up questions for Guy before we're getting up close to 6 my time? So yeah, Les.
Yeah, what's it take to get circled by you, Guy?
I'm sorry, what?
What's it take to get circled by you on Google Plus?
You just have to post good shit.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
At least I'm consistent.
That's right. Anyone else, real quick, before we wrap it up? No.
I got a random one for you.
Yeah.
You only get 3 apps on your phone. What are they?
Wow. And let's not count the built-in email and that kind of stuff. You mean 3 downloadable apps, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. TripIt. TripIt is number 1. Well, this is not necessarily ranked, but in order. This is, I gotta have TripIt because it manages my travel. Dropbox, because I need to access files all over the place. And probably Evernote, because I need to access stuff that I've posted, to Evernote all over the place. So TripIt, Evernote, and Dropbox.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Sorry I was late.
That's all right. Well, thanks for so much for showing up, Guy. We really appreciate it, and thanks for everybody who came into our show and was watching. And we'll tune in next week. Next time, we're going to have Peg Fitzpatrick actually on the show at the end of this month. So we're excited to have her on as well. So thanks for joining us on the Manly Show, where the panel is wise, the guests are good looking, and hopefully your host was above average. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.